Hello, ineffable being. How are you doing? Hope you're having a wonderful, magical day. I want to tell you that you are a genius. You are special. You mean the world, and you are loved. Ineffable being, have you seen the movie Limitless? With Bradley Cooper, the pill, and he does all these great things, and it kind of ends up very sour in the end, and then there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Limitless, right? Well, have you thought about that movie? And I wanted to break it down because I want to share with you what I think is limitless, put a little bit of, my perspective into this movie, and then just give you a little bit of boost, a little bit of motivation because quite frankly, you are limitless. You have the NZT already inside of you. Everything that you possibly need, you have it right now in the present moment. So, the movie Limitless, right? We know how it goes. Dude takes a pill, intelligence, so forth and so on. We've all seen it. If you haven't seen it, it's an amazing movie. Go watch it. Well, let me tell you what I think limitless to me means, what it means to me. To be limitless means to be able to feel how I want to feel, when I want to feel it, and for the time that I want to feel it. That, in essence, is my definition of limitless. Feel how I want to feel, when I want to feel it, for how long I want to feel it. If you haven't seen the video, Basis of Human Life is Chemical, go and watch it. And also, go and watch another video. My last video was Happiness is for You, so you can see where I come from. Because oftentimes, if you hear someone talking about happiness, positivity, manifesting, the connotation is, well, they've had everything in their life and life is just really easy for them. Now, I'm not going to, discuss again, that same video, so go and watch it. But in essence, my life hasn't been perfect. I've had to create the person that I am, okay? And that is why I am so confident to say that limitless to me means being able to feel how I want to feel for the time I want to feel. That is limitless, all right? So I'm telling you, you have what's the drug? NZT inside of you. Well, if you just start, well, let me digress. What if limitless, the pill, what if it's a metaphor? What if it's a metaphor to a possibility? Let's think about that. So what happens? I take this little NZT, my brain works faster, and I can remember things better, I can work faster, concentrate more, learn more languages, and all these great things, right? Well, what if that's a metaphor? What if that pill is a metaphor for consciousness? What if him taking the pill is really trying to show us, hey, look, if you take the pill of consciousness, these are some of the possibilities. And I started doing this. I started investigating. I started, upregulating. I started using my intelligence and pushing it to the fullest potential. So if you don't know, this channel is over how to live through the heart, how to cultivate an elevated emotion by living through the heart, by using your heart, which is 2 times, 60 times electromagnetically more powerful than the brain. So let me just tell you my journey, and I hope it motivates you. I hope it pushes you to investigate more. Look up epigenetics, placebo effect, metacognition, neurogenesis. Listen to Dr. Joe Dispenza. Listen to Dr. Bruce Lipton. Listen to Sadhguru. There's so many people. Listen to the science, quite frankly, and then also a little bit of the mystical side because we have to admit we don't know anything, right? We know how to use a couple things, manipulate a couple chemicals and elements, but fundamentally we don't even know a blade of grass in its entirety. We don't. We don't even know a single atom in its entirety. We don't know a single cell in this body in its entire context. We know it has a little bit of this, has a little bit of that. We know it's made up of a whole bunch of stuff that is emptiness that we don't know what it is. And of course, we can manipulate it. We know how to use everything. But quite frankly, we don't know anything about anything. So being that this is the nature of life, well, I decided, well, let me just investigate, let me jump into it. And, present day, I've created a community of ineffable beings where, I cultivate, we share what it means to live through the heart. I have a mentorship, corporate employee trainings, the full 9 yards. And let me just tell you why I believe NZT, why that movie perhaps is more of a metaphor. Now, to some of you, you might put down in the comments, well, NZT is a real thing. We have Adderall, we have Ritalin, we have other things in, the UK that are very similar. And if you pay more money, there's, all these other things. And there's also, ashwagandha, which basically, the little short history with that. At one time, I wanted to buy turmeric, moringa powder, like everything, right? All these powders and all these pills. And I also wanted to, grow my intelligence. So I walk into this shop and I asked the gentleman, I was like, hey, like I have this list. And everything was, micronutrients for, like again, wheatgrass, spirulina, all these things for my health. And then as I was leaving, I said, wait a minute, do you have anything for the brain? Do you have anything for, that is similar to Adderall? I had my own experience with Adderall, and that's like, Plano West, Dallas, Texas, that's like the cool thing, right? Like Adderall, like, yo, I'm smart now. So I asked him, and he was like, well, me and my dorm mates, we passed the university exams, and we're all doctors with this, and he gave me ashwagandha. So I share that story to say there is very subtle, natural ways to increase your intelligence, and there is also probably more dangerous ways. If we look at the movie Limitless, that's a very great description, because there were some side effects, right? Well, what about a more natural way? What about your intelligence? What about your brain, an electromagnetic instrument that's constantly receiving and transmitting? What about your heart that's 60 times even greater than that? Have you thought about that? Well, let me tell you what can happen. Depending on how great you use your brain, your instruments, let me tell you what can happen when you start using your intelligence. And I want to motivate you to start investigating, listening, researching what is the possibility of the human being. Because it's a lie. It's a lie that the human being only uses 5% of their conscious mind. Now, sure, if you're not using your consciousness, then yeah, that's you. You actually don't use anything. If the most extreme you go with your consciousness is to be conscious the fact that you can be conscious, and you're all day just listening to this like great CD that we call thoughts or unconscious thoughts, then you know what? There's no solution for your life, and quite frankly, yeah, you don't even earn like 5% consciousness. You're just like flat out neutral, which isn't bad, like it's like people who run in a treadmill. If you're running on a treadmill, well, you're not running to go anywhere. You just want to tone your muscles and you want to look good, have good stamina. If that's you, by all means, go and do that, right? But if you want a little bit more of life, if you want to push the limits, if you want to see what really exists beyond the fear, the anxiety of using your consciousness, well, just listen in. So you can become a better communicator. You'll have a filter to see how your information is being received, and by this filter you start tweaking. Well, maybe I need to put more gratitude, maybe I need to put more love, more energy, more love and happiness and more positiveness, and maybe not. It depends on what you're speaking, correct? Well, that's one thing. A problem solver, it's so amazing. I've been presented with quite challenging times here. I live in Honduras, third world country. $1 equals 24 units of currency in this country. So I can say that to make $1, I have to work 24 times longer or harder, right? So I've been presented with definitely some adversity or some challenges. But the amazing thing is, whenever there is a problem, like it's not just black or white, right? It's not just like, oh, you can go up or down, you can go left or right. But like now, there's like 8 solutions, right? There's like literally now before me, I see like it's like 8 cards, and like the universe is like, you could do this, and this is what will happen. You can do this, this will happen, and there's 8 routes, and it doesn't take much energy. So that's a great thing. That's a great thing because knowing how to solve problems is very important. Also, thinking a few steps ahead. I'm going to use a very simple way to describe how my intelligence has risen through this dimension. Well, let's say that I have to go grocery shopping. So we are in times of coronavirus, so a mask is required. So this is just an example because it happens so commonly that I don't really pay attention. But basically, let's say I'm working, right? After work, I'm gonna go. So my brain from way earlier starts planning out the whole thing for me, right? Because my consciousness is at a better level. I'm more prone to better thoughts and better realizations and thinking ahead of time. How? So my brain thinks, okay, so well, you have to go to place A, you also have to go to place B, and you have to end up in place C, but make it here in time by 8 o'clock, right? So my brain looks at like different ways to like, okay, so go buy your mask first, go to place C. You thought place B was faster, but really the traffic at this time is at this time, and you know this. So I'm sitting here like, oh yeah, I can't believe I actually thought I was going to go to place A, then B. So it's just so amazing, and I know that I didn't, but wasn't maybe not clear enough for you, but you start thinking ahead, right? If I want to, um, well, I don't know. I mean, like for example, the masterclass, right? So I wanted to start sharing how to live through the heart. People don't know me. They have no idea who I am, and I'm currently not spending money in advertising myself. So one way that I, thought ahead was, well, like Luis, if you just put a post on Facebook like, "Hey y'all, I'm gonna share with you how to live through the heart." Well, people don't know you. So how did I think ahead in that time? Well, I started creating these daily videos. So now you get a vibe, you get to see me, you get to listen to me, you get to see like what notion, like who is this guy? Am I going to share 1 hour of my day to listen to him? So it's just these little things that they're so impactful. So my better memory, right? I love sharing this story because it's a little bit more easy. So we all have unconscious thoughts, right? We all have a memory. Most of the times we don't consciously use our memory. But so how does our memory work? Well, I'll be walking down the street, right? And I get a feeling. Sometimes music comes, right? And it's more like a feeling. And sometimes we get lucky. We can hear the brain tell us like, 3 to 4 words from a song. And what do I do? What did I used to do? I still didn't know the title of the song, but I know that song just by those words. I know what song it is, but I can't say the title. So what does any rational person do? He takes those 4 words, puts them on Google, and Google will tell you the whole song, will tell you the title. And now you pull that, copy and paste, search, Spotify, now you're listening to the song. So how has my memory bettered? Well, now I'm blessed because it's not just like 1 or 2 little words from a song. Like now my brain can tell me a full song. Like, and it's crazy. Like I'm not saying it, I'm not telling it to myself, but the brain, it was kind of scary at first. Imagine you're sitting here, just sitting there where you are, and like, but without having to do anything, you hear a full song. Like I listen to Drake a lot. Imagine listening to a full Drake song with like the beat and everything. And like you're not doing this. Like that's magic. Like in the beginning it was really scary. And again, I'm not on Ritalin, I'm not on Adderall, I'm not even on ashwagandha. But I have started using the greatest instrument that the human being has. Well, what is the instrument? It's the heart. 60 times electromagnetically more powerful. So moving forward, I'm living my dream now. You might look at me like, oh, this guy gets like 5 views, or where's his money, or whatever you could possibly think. But the simple fact is, I am living my dream. My parents, family, coworkers, like no one can tell me like, Luis, you're a failure, or Luis, you're X, Y, and Z. Like quite frankly, I wake up every day. My purpose is to elevate the collective consciousness, and I'm doing that every single day, right? I'm not looking at the end result like I used to. I've had the same purpose for about 5 years, or a little bit more than 5 years, but for a good amount of time, I was thinking I need the money before I speak. I need the audience before I start to speak. And living through the heart just taught me to like just be fearless, just go, just dive into it, and do what you got to do today. So what did I do? I started turn on the webcam and put record, and I just started speaking. And yeah, you might say, well, like Luis, that's not that cool, like nobody really knows you. Well, the simple fact is that I've connected with people in India, I've connected with people in other countries in the world, that if I would not have been using my intelligence, the end result of me using my intelligence was the motivation, the insight of doing things now. Because I'm doing things now, I'm a lot closer to the end result that is perceived better than what I currently am doing. Why? Because I've already spoken and helped and touched many more lives than I would have ever done if I would not have been using my intelligence. I've created a masterclass. I have many trainings. I've connected with people in different places and countries. Was only possible because I started using my intelligence. And my intelligence showed me a way. Luis, you got to start from scratch. You got to start from zero. You're waiting for the money. Well, what? You're going to work 20 to 30 years, save up money. After 30 years, you're going to open up a channel and you're going to start bombing it with money to? No. Someone else is probably going to do it. Or what if that's not even important then? So living through my dream is a big idea. It's a big gift that my intelligence has given me, and it's ineffable. It's amazing. Cushion for negativity. So I sound cool, right? Like, oh, feeling happy 24/7 or whatever emotion. I gave you my definition of limitless, so that sounds pretty cool, right? Well, does that mean like nothing bad happens to me? Like, does it mean that I'm invincible? Well, no. But the thing is, see, things that are perceived to be negative by the collective, whenever they impact someone using their intelligence, what happens is they have a cushion or they have a filter. So getting fired or having an accident, a motorcycle accident, which I actually did. Having a motorcycle accident, I had a business even. I was making more money from selling vegan juices a day than I was making at my job every single day. So, but I had an accident, right? So all these things, well, whenever these things that can be negative impact or they have to filter through my intelligence, well, what happens? It's like a cushion, it's like a shield. Something that we can say energetically is -50, right? A -50 energy, okay, just for layman's term. Now, because I am using my intelligence, because I'm living through the heart, now it doesn't impact me as much. It still impacts me, but let's just take half of the life away, right? I mean, that's a lot. If a situation was supposed to impact me 50 points, but if it only impacts me 25, I'm going to take that every single day, day in and day out. So, lastly, I'll say, to explain this point, what is a negative situation without the impact? So getting dumped, getting in a car wreck, losing your car, getting robbed, anything that the common people will say is negative. What is a negative situation without the negative impact? Well, I'm going to let you think about that, and I'll share with you some words of Dr. Joe Dispenza. He says, a memory without the emotional charge is wisdom. So, ineffable being, NZT is inside of you. You can be limitless. You can grow your memory, your filter. You can live your dream right now. You can create your physiology, your emotional, your mental state so powerful that you almost become invincible. Almost is the key. You have NZT inside of you right now. You are limitless, and start growing yourself. Start living through your heart. Start creating your dream and creating health and wealth. And all you have to do is accept yourself, your physical and your not physical side. Accept that you have your brain and that you can use it. Accept consciousness. Accept light. Accept to express yourself. Accept to hear your own voice inside of yourself versus just hearing your memories. Ineffable being, this has been my video on Limitless. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please put down in the comments if you enjoyed it or did not enjoy the video. And also put down in the comments, what topics would you like for me to cover in the future? Lastly, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. I hope to see you on the side of light. Goodbye.